In this video, I'll show you how to make this fully editable sliced text effect in Inkscape. To start, let's grab the text tool and create a text object. This effect is going to look best with a font that has thick letters. So for now, I'll go with Montserrat and I'll set the style to heavy. Don't worry too much about the font right now though, because we can always change it later. Right now I'll grab the selector tool and I'm going to scale up the text object while holding down Control to keep it proportional. Okay, next we're going to create a clone of the text object, and we'll also be adding path effects to the clone. Because of this, we can first open up the path effects dialog by going to the path menu and choosing path effects. Then we can easily create a clone of the text object by clicking the clone button in here. We now have a clone of the text object, which we can move up here. And because this object is a clone, if we select the original text object and use the text tool to change its text or font attributes, the clone will change as well. One problem with clones, however, is that they also by default copy the original object's colors. If we would like to be able to use a variety of colors for the text effect, we'll need to separate the clone's colors from the original's colors. And this is doable because clones of a text object actually use the clone original path effect, which lets us control exactly what to copy from the original. However, if we select the clone again, we don't currently see the clone original settings in the path effects dialog. To show them, we first need to click this arrow button here, which brings up all of the available path effects. Then we need to choose clone original. Okay, so we can now see that by default, the clone is copying the original object's shape, including its LPEs, which are its path effects. And it's also copying certain attributes of the original object, including its style, its clip path, and its mask. Style here is what makes the clone copy the original's colors, so we'll need to remove it. And because we won't be using clipping or masking at all, we can actually just delete everything in this box. Then we can click the checkmark button here to apply the result. Alright, now we're free to change the clone's colors, and changing the colors of the original text object no longer affects the clone. Okay, next we'll add a long shadow effect to the clone to make it look 3D. To do this, we first need to create a clone of the clone. However, when using clone original, this isn't as straightforward as just right-clicking the clone and choosing clone. Instead, we first need to copy the clone into the clipboard by choosing copy. Then we need to duplicate the clone by right-clicking it again and choosing duplicate. And now with the duplicate selected, we need to go into its clone original settings and click on this link to item button. This links it to the object that we copied into the clipboard. It also, for some reason, makes it line up with the original text object. To line it back up with this new parent, we can uncheck Allow Transforms here. This prevents the clone from moving away from its parent. However, we actually do want to be able to move it, so let's recheck Allow Transforms. Alright, now let's make this new clone black. Then let's zoom in on it quite a bit. Okay, now let's grab the object, then without releasing the mouse, let's move it very slightly down and to the right. We're now going to reapply that small movement that we just made to many duplicates of the object. To do this, we can keep pressing Ctrl-Alt-D. About 20 to 30 times should be good. We next want to take all of the duplicates and put them beneath the parent object. Because the duplicates have the same fill color, which is different from the parent, we can easily select them all by right-clicking one, going to Select Same and choosing Fill Color. And now we can send them beneath the parent by clicking this lower to bottom button up here. If we now zoom back out, we can see that the text has a nice 3D look. Okay, and now we're finally ready to start slicing up the text. To do this, let's grab the top clone here, and using the Path Effects dropdown, let's choose Slice. If we now go to the Node tool, we can see these three white diamond handles going down the center of the object. These make up the slice line, and we can move them around to adjust the positioning and angle of the line. We can't really tell that much is happening at the moment, but if we go to the selector tool, we can now move this piece of the text away from everything else. And we can even apply different colors to each piece. For this one, I'll give it a stroke color by holding down Shift and clicking a color swatch, and I'll also remove its fill color. And to make it look better, I want to do the same for all of its clones. So first I'll select all of the clones by right-clicking inside here and going to Select Same, Fill Color. Now I'll give them all a black stroke and turn off the fill. Now depending on the font that you use, after adding a stroke to the text, you might notice some new lines being created where there shouldn't be any. To fix this, we can select the top object here, add the offset path effect to it, and slightly adjust the offset setting in here. I'll just click on the minus button one time. And this automatically gets applied to all of the object's clones as well. Alright, now if we also want to give this part of the text a 3D look, we'll need to perform the same steps that we used earlier. So first, let's copy this part of the text into the clipboard, then let's duplicate it. And this time, we'll need to add the Clone Original Path effect to the duplicate. Now let's click the Link to Item button, and we can line it back up with this new parent by unchecking Allow Transforms and checking it again. Okay, now let's make it black, zoom in a lot, move it slightly down and to the right, then press Ctrl-Alt-D a bunch of times. Alright, now we can select all of the duplicates by right-clicking one and going to Select Same, Fill Color. Then we can send them beneath the parent. Okay, for a final touch, we can add a shadow between each piece of text and the background. Let's start with the bottom piece. To do so, let's duplicate one of its clones. Any clone will do. Now let's move the duplicate so that it's lower than everything else. Now we can open up the Fill and Stroke dialog, then use the blur slider down here to make it kind of blurry, and also use the opacity slider to make it a bit transparent. And now we can send it below everything else. Alright, and we can do the same for the other piece of text by duplicating one of its clones, moving it down, making it blurry, lowering its opacity, and sending it to the bottom. Okay, the effect is now officially finished, so if we want, we can select the original text object down here, grab the text tool and change up some things. Now sometimes after changing the text, the clones might not get completely updated at first. To fix this, we can add on an extra space to the end of the text, which updates the clones correctly, then we can delete the extra space. This might happen when we change the font as well. We might also lose the color of the piece of text here. For this, we can select this other piece of text again, and show its Slice Path Effect settings. Then we can go to the Node tool, and if we adjust the slice line a bit, it should bring back the color. And finally, we can also still move a piece of the text around, but we want to make sure to move all of its clones as well. Alright, so that's how we can create an editable slice text effect in Inkscape. Thanks for watching.